Hello everyone, it's Rubixy here and welcome back to another video on the channel. Today, a new free legendary on Raid Shadow Legends has finally dropped. But before I get into it, if you're already enjoying the content, please give that subscribe button a click. It genuinely means a lot. Your support means absolutely everything. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into today's video. So, as you can tell, we are on Raid Shadow Legends. I did have a playthrough of Minecraft already recorded, but it turns out the footage is completely corrupted and I'm going to have to start the whole thing again, which it sucks and it also doesn't, because if I'm being honest, I didn't make that much progress on the video anyway, and I died at the end of it, so I ended up losing everything anyway. So, if realistically, in any case, it's kind of a blessing in disguise. The world spawn wasn't great, so maybe I'll get a better one. Anyway, so on to today's video. So so I mentioned in, I think it was, I don't know if it was the previous video or it was the video before that, but a free legendary had been announced by Plarium. That free legendary is now here, and we're going to look at it together. I haven't actually seen it yet. I loaded up Raid this morning, it popped up on the screen. I haven't clicked on anything else. I haven't looked at the champion. I've only claimed the first reward because it kind of forced me to, but I haven't read the news. I haven't done anything, so we're going to get into that today. So let's get on to the news and see what's cooking in Teleria. So meet Raid's newest warrior. There's quite a few. Oh wow, okay, here we go. Here it is. Right, oh okay. As part of our collaboration with Monster Hunter franchise, that's interesting, we're running a special event where everyone can get a free legendary Bannerlord champion, Rathalos Blademaster. Rathalos Blademaster is an expert at slaying bosses, very good, because I need a clan boss slayer. He can ignore 100% of their defense, increasing his crit damage and speed, as well as more damage against targets under HP burn. Wow! Okay, that's impressive. I've actually got a HP burn champion. To get Rathalos Blademaster, you will need to take part in the Rathalos and the Rathalos Chase. To do so, all you have to do is play Raid for 7 days, and then on day 7, you'll be able to add him to your collection. So that is basically as easy as that. I'm guessing it's the same way as before. So once Rathalos Blademaster is done, you can't get him again. Usually when they have champions that are part of a free login, you can get him again in shards. So for example, I believe Ultimate Death Knight is available in shards now. Ninja might be available, I don't know about that one, but it turns out that this one seems to be done. This is over. That's incredible. After getting him from the Rathalos Chase, you'll be able to share a post about the chase in Facebook or X or Twitter. I call it Twitter, and get a reward for it. That's insane. This is the first time I'm reading this. That is brilliant. Okay, that's incredible. I'm actually really excited to see his skills now. So 5 new champions have been released. I'm not going to go. Yeah, you know what, we'll go through all of them. Rathalos Blademaster, Zinogre Blademaster, R Nirjante Archer. These are some names. Alatron Blademaster and Fatalis Blademaster. I think these are all in collaboration, yeah, with Monster Hunter. Okay, I have never played Monster Hunter. I know what it is. I've seen videos, I've seen clips of it. I've just never sat there and played the game. I'm kind of tempted now. It sounds really cool. But let's have a quick look at the champions. So the first one, of course, you've got to claim all the free rewards. The first one, it was it Rathalos Blademaster in, where am I going? Index. In Bannerlords. There we go. Androp Blademaster. So we'll have a look at this one first. Androp the Glory. Was this a new one? I don't think this was. No, it wasn't. I'm losing my mind. Right, where was he? There we go. Rathalos Blademaster. Wow. Okay, he looks incredible. Visually, this guy looks insane. Like, I've said this about 1 trillion billion times before. Plarium is one for the many flaws of like the microtransactions and stuff, or the stuff in the store and how expensive the packs are. Their visuals are brilliant. In fact, I don't think there's many mobile to PC games out there that actually has as good as visuals as this game does. I think it's absolutely incredible. This guy looks like an absolute beast. Anyway, what's his stats? Okay, Spirit Thrust A1 attacks one enemy. It has a 50% chance of placing a 60% decreased defense. If the target is a boss, and I'm kind of guessing the clan boss counts as that, this debuff cannot be resisted. This means that you do not need accuracy when fighting a boss to land this. You just need to hope that the RNG is on your side. A2 attacks one enemy. Every second use of this skill in a round will attack all enemies instead. Will also ignore 25% of the target's defense. If this target is a boss, will ignore 100% of the target's defense. This guy's going to be incredible to use. I'm going to need to save up some food and try and get him 60 when he comes. That's insane. I'm definitely going to do a showcase on him when he comes out. when I can get him in the next 6 days. A3 attacks all enemies before attacking, places a 30% increased crit damage and speed buff on this champion for 2 turns. Okay, this guy is gonna be fun. This guy is gonna be fun to use. Inflicts 50% more damage against targets under HP burn. Receives 25% less damage from enemies under HP burn debuffs. Every 5th skill used by this champion deals 200% more damage. This guy is actually going to be cracked. This guy, I'm actually really excited now. I needed an excuse to get on the game today. I've not really been playing much. You probably tell by my level. I haven't really been on the game as much this past few days because I've just been playing other stuff. I have been playing the game. I've been coming on and doing the daily stuff, but I've not been actively grinding the game. But this is cool. So yeah, just to bring it back to what it was. This is all you have to do. You literally just need to log in for 7 days. You don't even need to play the game for 7 days. You just need to log in, claim the reward, and then log back out and do whatever else you need to do. There were other champions that loaded in. Let me have a quick look. So the first champion we're going to look at, apart from obviously the free login, was Zenogre Blademaster. She's from the Shadowkin. I'm guessing that this whole thing is part of the collaboration with Monster Hunter. Let's have a look at her skills again. She looks badass, I can't lie. They all look so cool. So, attacks one enemy 3 times, with a 30% chance of placing a 25% weakened debuff for 2 turns, which is pretty good, I guess. The triple hitter is very good for Fire Knight. Attacks 4 times. Each hit increases this champion's turn meter by 5% and places a increased speed buff on all allies for 2 turns. Again, 4 hitter, great for Fire Knight. Attacks one enemy 4 times. Again, good for Fire Knight. Seems like she's a Fire Knight winner. Before attacking, places a 50% increased attack buff. And then the first and second hit have a 75% chance of placing a leech debuff. And the third and fourth hit each has a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack debuff. So she's throwing all the debuffs out there, and then giving herself increased attack. So boost of damage, whilst also weakening the heck out of the opponent. Very strong. What's her passive? Increases the damage this champion deals by 1% for every 1% of HP lost. Very good. This increased damage doubles if a target is under a decreased defense buff. Damn, they've gone all in for these champions, haven't they? Then the active effect, so it becomes one you can use, prevents this champion's death and keeps them alive on 1 HP when hit by a fatal hit. If this skill prevents this champion's death, heals them by 50% of their This is incredible. Will not prevent this champion's death if they are under a health reduction a debuff. Okay, so she looks like she's a very good multi-hitter, triple hitter with a quad hitter, a couple of quad hitters, good at placing the leech, so very good for something like the Fire Knight or something else that needs this sort of reduction. She's just a good champion. On to the next one. Okay, so the next one, our Nergigante Archer. Again, I'm sorry if I'm butchering these names. I don't know Monster Hunter. I know the game, but I just haven't played it. I don't know much about it. I just know what it is. I know it exists. This person looks like someone you want to take on an archery. You don't want to take on an archery contest. Look at this. Look at the bow. That looks so cool. How do you even get the arrow? Alright, that makes sense. Okay, anyway. So the first A1 attacks one enemy, places an increased accuracy buff on this champion for 2 turns. Very handy. Attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a stun, if I can get my words out, for 1 turn. If the target is a boss, has a 75% chance of placing a 30% decrease speed debuff for 2 turns instead. Also decreases the turn meters of enemies under a stun debuff placed by this skill by 20%, and then fills the turn meter of all allies by 10% if a decreased speed debuff is placed by this skill instead. So very good at slowing the enemy down and also just straight up just stopping them having a turn. Stun is quite powerful, especially when you're clearing out waves. They're a defense champion, so very easy to book to stay alive. A3 attacks all enemies, places a hex debuff, which is becoming a lot more prevalent now because I think they've changed hex as a debuff. It used to pretty much not do anything. And now it seems to allow more damage to be given. I've got a champion that currently has Hex and is quite powerful. If the target is a boss, places a Hex debuff for 3 turns and a Provoke debuff for 2 turns instead. Handy. Well, not really the Provoke, because not a lot of bosses allow Provoke to be placed, I believe. But again, really handy. And then finally, the passive heals all enemies, heal all allies, I hope they're not healing all enemies, heals all allies by 10% of their max HP when attacking enemies under a Hex debuff. If multiple champions on the team with one skill, only one will activate. Increases the champion's defense by 5% each time this champion receives a hit from an enemy under a hex debuff. So again, the hex is very important with this champion, it seems, for survival. Obviously they're a defense champion, so survival is pretty much gonna almost be guaranteed because you build up the defense for damage as well as survivability. It seems like they dish out quite a bit of damage. They prefer stick out. Was this the person for the stun? Yeah, they put out an AoE stun and decrease speed. Extremely handy when you're clearing out waves. Very good champion. On to the next one. Okay, on to the next one. Alatron Blademaster. This guy looks... Wow, he looks... You know what he reminds me of? I don't know why he reminds me of this, but because I think maybe the helmet. It reminds me of when I had... was it Calatrax? I can't remember. The poison champion from Knights Revenant. I think it was... Is he part of this? Yeah. Oh, Calvalax. There we go. I don't know why, but he's just... I don't know, similar body build, I guess. Maybe I'm going crazy, but anyway, he looks incredible. I've lost him. There he is. So, A1. Attacks one enemy. It has a 40% chance of increasing the duration of 2 random buffs on all allies by 1 turn. Pretty handy. Attacks all enemies. Places a 60% increased defense buff and a shield buff on all allies for 2 turns. Very good for survivability. The shield is equal to 30% of this champ's max HP, and if a target is a boss, the buffs are protected. Very handy. And also HP champion, so good for survivability. Removes all debuffs from all allies and places a block debuffs on allies, a buff on all allies for 2 turns. If the boss is present in the current round, the buff is protected. So it seems like a lot of these champions from the Monster Hunter collaboration seem to have a lot of skills targeted at bosses on how to stop the bosses doing this, how to increase damage against bosses, and how to protect your champions from bosses. I like that. Like, if you had a whole team of these Monster Hunter champions, you are slaying bosses incredibly well. And then passive fills this champion's turn meter by 5% for every time a debuff is placed on them. Also heals this champion by 5% of their max HP whenever a debuff placed on them expires or is removed. Again, survivability. This person's a support champion, but their damage is based on HP. So if you juice the HP up as much as possible, you're absolutely flying. That's insane. These champions are really, really cool. And then finally, the Void champion of the group, Fatalis, who looks like he's playing guitar with his sword or something. Got an eye there and an eye there. Got 2 eyes in different places. With wings. Don't let him fly away. I don't know what I'm talking about. But this guy is a Void champion from Dark Elves. This is the last one on the list that I saw. There is a mythical champion, but you know, we'll see. We'll go through it if I can get to it. So, A1. Attacks one enemy, ignores 15% of the target's defense if the attack is critical, and also has a 20% chance of granting an extra turn. So if you are speed tuning your team, that might be a problem, but if you're not, that is absolutely fine. Okay, so A2. Attacks one enemy, will ignore Strengthen, Stone Skin, Increased Defense, and Ally Protection buffs, and also ignores 15% of the target's defense if the attack is critical. Very handy for damage, and decreases the target's attack by 10%. Again, really good for limiting the amount of damage that's going to be coming in, whilst also dealing a lot of damage the other way. Very handy, and also, again, built on HP, very, very good for survivability. A3. Attacks all enemies, ignores 15% of the target's defense if this attack is critical. It seems like that's on pretty much every skill here. And then decreases the target's defense by 5%. This guy is a menace. I really hope I don't have to come up against him in any waves. And then A4. This is a long one. Attacks one enemy, will ignore 50% of the target's defense. Fills this champion by turn meter by 50% if the attack is critical. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be decreased by enemy passive skills or masteries. Very good. Except by the passive skills of bosses. Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be increased by either this champion's... Damage inflicted by this skill cannot be increased by either this champion's masteries or ally passive skills except when attacking bosses. Again, another boss-based thing. Very good. And this is a secret skill and only becomes available when any 3 of the champion's skills were used in a round. Quite a lot to get through there, but by the sounds of it, basically sounds like his damage doesn't get affected by other champion skills and not by his own, which could be interesting. Passive. Places a shield buff on this champion equal to 25% of their max HP for 2 turns at the end of their turn. This champion cannot revive critical hits. This champion cannot receive, receive, I was confused then. Critical hits while under a shield buff placed by this champion. These champions all seem like they've got very good survival instincts, very good damage. These guys look absolutely incredible actually. And yeah, just wow. I'm actually quite astounded by how good the free legendary login as well is as well, especially with the damage against bosses, the 200% increase, the increase in crit damage. That these champions are going to be incredibly fun to use. And these champions look very fun to use. I can't wait to use them. But I'm going to leave it there. I've said enough in this video. I've taken up too much of you guys' time. I hope you guys have had a very, very good day. And until the next video, I will see you then. Bye bye.